cool
you
once a
should be
year.
able to do what
But
you
I'll tell you
want
what,
to
it's
do
crazy.
when you
I'll
want.
be able to let y'all do some work.
Hey, Alan, good to see you, man. Glad you came in. Have a great day. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, sounds good.
You're awesome.
Sorry to
Thanks.
bother you.
Oh, you didn't bother me. It's all good.
Because your family was wealthy.
We never know who'll be right here at the over-the-top studios.
Never.
Stopping
But that
by,
doesn't
people.
square
Government
with
Fred
Fred
workers.
can't keep
Couch's
their
own
corporate
behavior
workers.
during a DWI stop in
Affluenza
1992.
teen.
Did you tell the arresting officer I make more in a day than you make in a year?
Probably.
More than 20 years later, CNN was unable to determine the outcome
All
of
right,
that
let's
traffic
mute
stop.
that.
Fred and Tanya Couch reportedly married in 1996.
What are we saying here about
They
this
divorced 10 years
affluenza
later,
teen?
remarried, but split again after the crime.
This guy is so...
It's ridiculous. The affluenza teen, he wasn't given a very long sentence because he was so affluent he hadn't learned responsibility. And what's up with that?
Interestingly enough, I was reading Dee Wampler's book yesterday, browsing through it. It's called How to Defend Yourself Against Cops in Missouri and Other Strange Places. Quite a title. But he's talking in that book about how wealthy people, celebrities, are getting lighter sentences than the rest of the population for the same offenses. And they've got pictures and lists of all these people from Mel Gibson to Michael Jackson. Everybody's getting lighter sentences or getting off the hook, so to speak. Celebrity status. Wealth.
Celebrity status, affluenza status, I've got a lot of money status, I've got a lot of power status.
I don't have that problem myself.
Me neither.
People aren't going around.
Well, I just live vicariously through other celebrities. And
I mean, a cop arrests me, I go, man, with all the money you make compared to me, you could afford to let me go, couldn't you?
At least.
I've had so many issues running out of gas. And seriously, in my lifetime, I've run out of gas about 8 times. When I was driving a 1969 Plymouth, I would run out of gas because the gas gauge wasn't working. And I wasn't thinking. And I didn't think ahead, and I didn't have a lot of money as a young person, and I ran out of gas, so the police would wonder what I was doing on the side of the road. They're suspicious about this stuff, thinking I'm up to no good. I'm just running out of gas, officer.
That's what I do.
I mean, that's what I do. That's how I don't roll. Instead of how I roll.
That's
how I
right.
don't roll.
That's funny.
Have you ever run out of gas?
Yes, I think we all have.
I mean, this is kind of scary. At night, one time I remember coming home from a friend's wedding up in North Missouri, and I was literally on the middle stretch of nowhere about 2 in the morning and walking with, in search of what? In search of gas station? There was a way station that was closed, but no gas station. I called my uncle at a, what did you have to do back then in the 80s? You have to go to a payphone, but that could be miles before the payphone.
At least.
Maybe it was the neighbor's house. I can't remember. It's one of those, excuse me, ma'am, I know it's 2 a.m. You know, you don't bother the neighbors at 2 a.m. So I eventually found a phone and my uncle showed up, but it was hours. I mean, you get stranded for hours back then.
You know, another thing, John, I wanted to segue roughly into something else was, you know,
Hit a speed bump.
yeah,
As
you know,
you hit.
what's going on, you know, with the veteran situation the last few years. Excuse me. The veteran situation is just ridiculous. I mean, there's been so many of these guys declared dead now who were still alive because of all the shenanigans and all the poor operational procedures and things like that. They've got a plethora of data on these guys. Every veteran has a card once they've been discharged. They you know, their social, all these information they have, dates of birth, service records and time, and yet some guys are going in there and having a hard time getting any care because they've been declared dead. So it's yet another example of we're just not
I'm
taking
dead.
care of
I'm
our
sorry,
veterans.
I can't help you. You're dead. That's what we're talking about here? You already died.
Yes.
So when you're dead, you don't get help.
No.
There was a movie I watched recently about a World War II called Unbroken, about the Olympic runner. Did you see that?
I've heard of it. I have not seen
He's
it.
stranded at sea longer than anybody, 47 days stranded after being shot down. They said the Army was going to reimburse them for travel time for the 47 days. This is true. This is in an interview with him. And he said they denied the request because the travel was not authorized during those 47 days. So he didn't get any money for that.
Remember, I called these people educated idiots. I mean, not the guy, the veteran, the people that make these decisions. I mean, what's wrong with somebody that makes a decision?
I'm sorry, we can't reimburse you for 47 days being shipwrecked at sea because your travel was unauthorized by the U.S. Army.
Wow.
After their 47 days on the ocean, they got captured by the Japanese. The guy goes, I have good news and I have bad news when he saw the Japanese. I was like, okay, no more days at sea, but we got a prison camp waiting.
Not so sure, you might not be better off in the open sea, but after 47 days, you just want to take refuge somewhere, I would imagine.
Trump.
And I said, I'll take the honor. Ignoring the Geneva Convention, alienating Mexicans, these are the kind of statements that make you unelectable.
Are we tired of elections in this country? Are we tired of it?
Well, everybody is, and of course, nice segue, thanks, brother. That's why the book was written, because people are just fed up. There's even one guy from Missouri, that was his
Billy
line.
Long.
That's right. That was his line going into the thing, saying, are you fed up? And he's a good man. He's a businessman here in the area, but he, I don't know. I don't know how fed up everyone else is, but I don't see a lot of change. And I'm not saying it's his fault, but again, by the time you spend 25% of your time smiling and dialing.
You put that out in the book, DC Squares, How Voters Can Win the Presidential Election. That book says it right there at the end of that book, how candidates get elected, and the worst thing that can happen is they get elected, because then they're tied up raising money for the party.
Yep.
I didn't realize this, but candidates spend much of their time raising money for the party that elected them, instead of doing their job, which they were elected to do.
And a lot of them might have been going there with good intentions, but it just doesn't work
Conversations
out.
from the higher ups in the party are, how is your fundraising going? Instead of, what are your constituents saying? What are we electing people for? To raise money for the party? No. No. N-O. That's a simple word. No, we're not raising money for the party. We're here to do some job for the country. Do I sound radical? No. I think we shouldn't let that go. I think that's an atrocity.
It is an atrocity, but it's just, that's again how the book helps people understand. The bottom line is the book will help you in about an hour read 64 pages, and that includes the illustrations done by John, the caricatures, etc., to add a little humor to it.
Caricatures of us
That's
included,
right.
our handsome and intelligent and informed authors.
Or so we believe.
That's in our
We
own
just tell
book.
ourselves that all the time.
We do.
And then we.
But if the reader will grasp the message behind the humor, they're going to see that candidates get elected and then can't do their job.
That's right.
We got to change it. And they're elected officials spending their time raising money in a call center.
No.
They don't need that.
And they actually have an actual call center that they showed on, it's about the same time you've written the book.
What's-
They show the actual centers for the Republicans and the Democrats where you're actually required to go and make your phone calls. It's like, it's
It's a requirement. So it's like,
Yeah.
hello, here's your new job. You've got to raise money. It's $2 million. You need to have it by next quarter. And good luck with your calling. What?
Have a
I
great
thought I was-
day.
I thought
Welcome
I was-
to Washington.
I thought I was here to introduce legislation and work on key issues that the voters. No. You're here to raise money for the party.
If you want to be here for the next trip around.
If not, you're out. You're back. So, what are these party mongers doing? Are they just raising money for themselves? Where does that money go?
And again, folks, it's both ways. It's
How are
on
they
the
doing this?
Democrats and Republicans.
Party means both, but
Yeah.
what are they doing? Raising money for themselves? What are they doing with
I
this
don't
2
know.
million here and
It's
2
just-
million there?
If they were doing this in
Give me
the
some of
corporate
it.
world or a private business, first of all, if they were running something with this kind of loss, they'd have been bankrupt long ago. Not just financially, but emotionally and mentally. But we just need to hold them more accountable. And I think it's just such a quagmire. You hear gridlock a lot the last 20, 30 years, but it's become, gridlock would be a good place to get back to. It's a complete quagmire. There's nothing you can do. It's completely stagnated. All they do is just the same old, same old. We just got to get people in from the outside. So that's why I think there's so much traction with Trump, whether you're a Trump fan or not. People don't want an insider.
What do you guys think out there? If you reply to this, subscribe to our channel and say, who do you think will be the next president and why? And what will be the result? Hillary becomes president, Trump becomes president. It's going to be two vastly different worlds.
Yes.
It's not going to be the same as, it's not a neutral thing. It's going to go this way or that.
What about the various demographical groups? What
Well, they're
say?
saying a lot of Hispanics are now on board with Trump.
Okay.
I think his stance about making illegal immigrants legal and illegal immigrants accountable, they like that because they worked hard.
That's right.
I applaud the people that went through the process to become an American
Yeah.
citizen.
Or even if they're not here illegally, we can try to have a way for them to, as long as they're willing to comply by the rules and live a good life. We're not saying that they're all criminals, they're not, but we need to make certain that we can have a way to vet them. And if you'll notice on the mainstream media, they're not accurate, John, on how they describe what
No,
Trump
they're
says.
not.
If they look at the full quotes the man makes now, he's rough, okay?
He is
He's
rough.
Archie Bunker with an attitude.
Yeah,
with a
Archie
lot of money.
Bunker.
He's
Give me a
he's
beer, Edith.
He's a wealthy Archie Bunker with an attitude, but it's the right attitude we need right now.
Right, you need
Because
to-
America doesn't win anymore. I hate to sound like I'm his puppet, but, I mean, we go in these negotiations, we're bowing to people, we're telling people, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. You cannot name a country in the history of, since the United States has been a country, you cannot name one country that has not received help from us. And they do the research on it. You can't find a country, you might be able to find one here and there we might have missed, but virtually virtually no country has gone without receiving some kind of support, help, or assistance from the United States. We're still a great country. We're still a country found on Judeo-Christian values, but the bottom line is, we just need to get back to what we did right and get away from what we're doing wrong, which is all this quagmire. We've got to move forward, and we've got to get more respect for America again by demonstrating to people that we're not going to be a pushover.
That's right. I totally agree. And a couple weeks ago, I would have said that Trump would have had the hardest time in the world even getting the nomination because he didn't have enough electoral votes. Now that looks like a totally different picture.
Yes.
It looked like Cruz and Trump are going to split off everything. Things were going like, what were we going to do? We're going to revoke the Piaget method, whatever that. No, not Piaget. Who's that guy?
He was giant in the nursery. He was a great
There
book.
you go, Jean Piaget.
Uh-huh.
No, who's the guy from the Corbusier method? We're going to evoke that. Remember, you evoked him in the book.
Yes.
And he was going to say there's too many split-offs, the voting paradox.
Yes.
And Condorcet,
Yes.
Condorcet, Marquis de Condorcet,
Uh-huh.
the late 18th century. But if we have too many candidates splitting off the vote, we get a different result every time we spin the wheel.
And that is explained in the book.
It's
rather
explained in the
clearly.
book, DC Squares, How Voters Can Win
That's
the
right.
Presidential Election by Greg Daniels and John Cockcroft on Amazon. But yeah, if you get a voter split, you're gonna have the, what do you call that? Remember back in the 90s, Ross Perot did that. He pretty much was a shoo-in for Clinton. Clinton got a minority of votes
Exactly.
and won the
What he
office.
did was he unintentionally siphoned off votes, or some would say
From
intentionally
George
siphoned
Bush.
off votes from George
H.W. Yeah, so I don't know. This thing was looking dismal for the Republicans a few weeks ago.
Dismal. Well, you know what though? Here's the thing that
But not anymore. I think Trump's got a shot. I think he really can.
He's got more than a shot, because what he has is, I think that he has
President Trump. We're going to predict that. This is May
right.
May 27th, 2016.
The bottom line is he has what a lot of people want to see, which is he speaks his mind. Now, let me just tell you what my thoughts are, whether his 2 cents are worth. And I'm the anti-affluenza guy, so I'll just tell you.
Yeah, anti-affluenza.
What I would like to say about him is that, John, I strongly believe that all this stuff that he said, it was rough, it was stated in a way that was offensive, and I was like, oh no. He said dozens of these things, but
He said a dirty word.
that's right. But what he has done is he's broken away from all these quote-unquote plastic people that are up there. I mean, there were 17 Republicans starting,
Ken
and
Dolls.
he's one by one knocked them all out. He's the champion, number one. Number two, what he says resonates. That's
It's
right.
true. He
Because
knocks them down.
because all these other guys are they're structured in the sense that everything's fake. It's a prepared statement.
It's the
They're
teleprompter.
reading. Well, if they can't read a teleprompter or notes, they can't interact
No.
because they're afraid you're going to say something wrong, because they don't just tell it like
Push
it is.
play, hit stop.
Bottom line is, the man has been a little rough, but I think you're going to see now what some of his skill sets will be explaining what he's going to do and where he's going to do and how he's going to do it. He's the only candidate so far that's said what he's going to do in some, if you will, a pre-presidential layout of his programs. No one else has done that, and they keep saying he doesn't have anything posted on his website. I beg to differ. He's the only one of the 2 remaining candidates that has specific detail on what he's going to do.
In fact, in the book DC Squares, How Voters Can Win the Presidential Election by Greg Daniels and John Cockcroft, that's yours truly and his truly, we point out the fact that, hey, you've got to go to the candidate's website and you will actually see what these candidates are interested in. Hillary's list is long. What she's interested in is reaching out to every voter group she can get.
And some would say it's long and reaching out to every voter group just to try to have a touch on them, where I think that some of the other candidates had shorter lists that were a little more meaningful and specific without just trying to get everybody.
Speaking of the short list,
Yes.
We have a short list of celebrities that we've mailed out the book to in hopes that this will gain attention nationwide. This book is important
It is important.
because this timing is right.
Yes.
America isn't just in another,
Election cycle.
no, this is a crossroads.
It truly is.
We have been taken through the Obama years, and now we're ready to see what's next. If it's Clinton, it's going to be
Continuation.
continuation. Are you happy with the way things are? Maybe you are, or maybe that's too simplistic. But things will change.
Well, they're going to have to change for the better, because right now we've lost respect abroad by countries. We don't have the standing in the world community we used to, and we used to be far and away the most recognized leader of freedom and peace and the democratic process. But now we're just looked at as almost no one respects us anymore. They don't fear us, and fear is a word that needs to be taken with reverence as it is biblically when you're talking about God. But fear just has to do more with respecting, because they know that if
Yes.
you mess around with them too much and keep punching away, they're going to hit
There's
you with a
there's no
haymaker.
awe, there's no reverence anymore. A lot of young people just have no concept of showing up for the job is what they think is what they're doing. Just being there is all they need. Because in school they just teach attendance. They're not
Or
really
the core curriculum.
Yeah, core
Oh, don't
curriculum.
get me
So they're
started
not
on that.
getting into the real things that make a job work, like the attitude, the interest in learning, the interest in being part of a
Yep.
group effort. They're all about themselves.
Yeah,
And the voters are that way, increasingly.
sure they are.
And they're just all about, hey, that feels good. Bernie's a cute old man. I want to vote for so-and-so because such and such is a racist bigot. You know, that's all. They just spit out these lies.
John, did you ever think that there would be a serious candidate for either party in your lifetime that would be a socialist that would be running this well? I didn't.
Socialism used to be a dirty word. Now they're actually throwing it around as if it's one of these viable options.
Well, we're a pseudo-socialistic society when you have over 40% of the people are on some type of government program,
In
which
fact-
Mr. Romney so pointedly made a decision to make that part of what he said in a public conversation of donors. It was recorded, and that he was demonized over something that's true. It's just the facts of the facts.
If we discuss socialism and capitalism on a state university campus, they'll look at them like socialism's probably the better of the two. Because capitalism is a bunch of bigots trying to take all your money. That's the way they're being painted. This is the backbone of America, how we were founded and what makes us competitive in the marketplace. The innovation that goes into this country is being wiped out by propaganda.
Yep.
This map here I'm looking at, this is May 27, 2016. I'm looking at a map of supporters for Trump versus Hillary. Hillary looks to have New York and Colorado, the marijuana bastion of this nation. Oregon and Washington, the Marijuana Lovers Association of America. Now that's just my take on it. The rest looks kind of red, looks kind of Trumpy. If you have a favorite daytime or evening show that you like to watch, encourage the host of that show to mention DC Squares, How Voters Can Win the Presidential Election by Greg Daniels and John Cockcroft. Tell them they've got that in the mail. They know who they are. They've received a copy, the one with the cartoon on it. They got a cartoon of themselves on it. So I didn't bring, Andrea, is there any of that in here? My sketch pad? I want to just show them an example of what they've already seen. I want you to know that if you like the Ellen show, for example, Ellen has a copy of this. If you like Oprah, if you can find her. If you like Jimmy Fallon, right?
You can find her.
Who's
She just-
Oprah?
Yeah.
But if you like Jimmy
Oprah?
Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel,
Or share.
then just hand me that and I'll
Pretty
flip through
close
it live.
Is that pretty close up?
And then we'll show it on here. Donald Trump he's got a copy of the book, so it says it's things like that. So it says DC Squares will make America great again. And then Hillary says DC Squares for America. Jimmy Kimmel, here's Jimmy Kimmel sitting on the stool, sitting on the pot.
Not to be left out.
But he got that in the mail. And we got Jimmy Fallon, he's on here too,
And as John said, just
enjoying the number 2
let these guys
book.
know. Yeah.
They've already got this in the mail, so it's not going to throw them off guard. Say, open that book, talk about it on the air. Talk about that book that you had a cartoon on. They got that package, they got it on there.
Since you showed them, John.
And then Hillary.
To be equal billing. We showed Trump, we're gonna show you the.
Craig Ferguson, we got Nightline, we got the other guy, Kyle Kalinske. Here's Oprah.
Is the red light still on?
Everybody
Yeah.
loves Oprah.
Oprah!
The O.
The big O.
And then we got Face the Nation. Here is Hillary. DC Squares for America. You can't sound like Hillary. I don't do a good Hillary impersonation. All right, guys. You saw it here first, second, or third. Andrew, you can cut this.